Okay, today on Rowan's Ratchets, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be cleaning up the gearbox and the motor area of this Fisher-Price Ford Raptor that Rian will walk around and show you. So, the first part of this process is normally your truck will look like this. You'll have the bed on it like that. So the first part of this process is to remove the 6 screws that hold this trunk in, okay? So the first screw is right up here that the seat sits on top, that one. The second screw is right over here. And then you're gonna have one screw right over here. We removed our fender, but there's normally gonna be a screw right there that you'll have to take out. And same thing on this side. And then there's 2 screws underneath that I'm going to show you right now. We'll get a light so I can show you. So if you go into the car, there's these 4 things right here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. So the screws are found in holes number 1 and hole number 4. Okay, so those are the 4 screws. Now we're going to show you what tools you need to do this. So, only tools you're going to need. You're going to need a flathead screwdriver. You're going to need a Phillips head screwdriver. You're going to need some silicone paste or silicone spray to grease all the gears back up once we're done, because we're going to clean out all the old grease and dirt. And then you're going to need just some kind of scrubber to get all that old grease off, okay? So, without further ado, let's get started. So, you remove the 6 screws that hold in the trunk, and the trunk pops right out. The seat, you kind of have to lift the seat, but the trunk pops out. Then you get access to this gear area, okay? So we're working on this side today. So basically, this wire goes to the gearbox that your kid shifts on. This wire goes to the motor, which spins when it has power, and that spins a number of gears in here that translates the spinning power of the little motor into spinning actual wheel spinning power, okay? So the first step is after we remove this, now we need to remove the tire. So the way you remove the tire is you come over here to the tire, come over here to the hubcap on the tire, take this little hubcap, and I'm gonna grab my flathead screwdriver, and you stick it, let me get the light so we can show you. You stick it anywhere around the hubcap and you just kind of pry it up. So I usually just go right here and it falls right off. Then you have this safety pin that holds it in, so you just stick a screwdriver in the safety pin and pop it backwards. If you've never taken your wheel off, this will be really tight, but with the screwdriver, you can't really break it. And then keep it all together so that we can put it back on later. Now, the wheel should just pop right off, okay? Now the wheel's off. Now we'll turn back to the axle. So what you're gonna do now is we need to pull the axle out from the other side. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to the other tire, and we're just gonna slide it. Well, our other tire's not locked in, so we're doing both. Let's slide the axle out. So can you see the axle coming out of that side?
Yep, it's coming out.
Get all the way out, so that inside, when you look inside up here, the axle's no longer connected, and we can pull this whole motor assembly out. So this is our gearbox, the black part. The motor is in silver. So, next thing we need to do is remove the bolts that hold in the motor, okay? So, those are the 2 flathead bolts on the top. So remember, before you do this, take a picture, because the 1 bolt's on the left side, 1 bolt's on the right side. So basically take your flathead screwdriver, and you just simply unscrew the 2 bolts that hold it in, okay? Once you do that, and we'll skip that because you don't need to watch us unscrew stuff. Once you take off those 2 bolts, this motor will just come out, and then you can leave that just resting inside. Then we'll take the black part, and we'll jump to that. Okay, so we'll stop the video, and then we'll jump to that part where we do that. Let's go ahead and stop it. Okay, so we removed the gearbox from the car. The motor's resting is still attached to the wires. So these are the 2 screws that held in the motor, the flathead screws right there, and those kind of stay in. They'll come out once we take the top off. But now essentially we're going to remove the 4 Phillips head screws, 1, 2, 3, 4, holding the front cover in. Then we'll be able to separate the gearbox, and then we'll have access to all the gears. Take out all the gears and clean them, okay? So we'll skip and we'll jump ahead to once we've taken out the 4 screws and lifted off the gearbox. You stop it. Okay, so we've taken all the bolts out, we've put them somewhere we remember. Remember there were 4 Phillips head and then 2 flatheads right here. Now we need to separate the 2 halves. So just take a flathead screwdriver and kind of pry it apart. It's really nicely sealed, which is good because it keeps it nice and waterproof. And there's a bunch of grease inside kind of holding it. But if you put your flathead screwdriver in there, you start to break free some of that grease and dirt that's built over the years. So we've never cleaned this. We've had the truck for about 6 years. We've never cleaned it. And so you'll get to see kind of firsthand what a 6-year-old Power Wheels, Ford Raptor Gearbox looks like. And we use it pretty heavily, and we really, we submerge it in water and we get it wet. We've never had any issues, and so this should be nice and dirty. Let's see, it's a little tight, which is good because it gives me confidence that it's all sealed. All right. There it is. Let me get a light on it so you can kind of see. So, lots of dirt from all of our underwater activities. Lots of grease still, which is good. The grease looks nice and used and dirty, so we're gonna, essentially all these gears just come right out. So see, it just pops right out like that. And you want to remember the order the gears are in, but you can reference the video and take pictures and stuff. We'll take every gear out. We'll clean all this up. We'll clean the back part of all the black up. We're gonna go to the sink and do that, and we're gonna use our scrub pad to get it all cleaned up, and a toothbrush or whatever. It's hard to remove the grease, but just take as much of it off as you can and use a rag to really wipe it down. And then we're gonna reassemble it. We're gonna re-grease everything and put it all back together. Okay, so we'll meet you at the sink. Okay, so we're by the sink. So like I said, the gears, they just pop right off. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so basically when the power comes in, I'll show you now actually, when the power comes in right here, the motor has a gear, and that gear, when it spins the rest of the gear. So as you can see, when this gear spins, the rest of the gear spins. So this is what's the motor spinning, and then this is what's actually attached to your wheel. So as the motor spins, then your wheel spins. So that's how that system works. But anyways, get it all cleaned up. And we'll fast forward through all this because we're basically just scrubbing it, getting the dirt off, and then wiping it with the dirty rag. All right? Okay, so we'll fast forward if we're free and we'll still video it. So you can stop the video. Okay, all the pieces are cleaned up. We got as much of the old grease and dirt off as we could. These are all our nice shiny gears. Now we're gonna go through and we're gonna put grease, and then we're gonna put them all back together, okay? So the points I want you to grease, all the shafts that the gears sit on need to get grease. We're gonna grease the gears themselves in the rivets where they touch each other, and the kind of on the sides, we're gonna put a layer of grease there. Then as they spin, it'll spread the grease out. And then along all of these kind of shafts. Those are the places, and then I'm gonna put a thin layer of grease along the border so that when I put the top back on, it seals real nice with no water inside, okay? Motor's all sealed back up. I got my flathead screws back in. Remember, the first one's on the left. This is incorrect. This one should be on the right side. Now, basically just take it in, stick it back. Oh, the axle came back. Pull the axle. Okay, and then side, and the motor, remember, goes into those two flathead screws. Actually, I'm gonna do it out here. So the motor has two holes on the sides of it for the flathead screws to go in. So we're gonna put it in and line it up with the screws. Okay, motor's hooked back up. So now we're just gonna put it in. And then we're gonna get our axle slid back through. So I'm gonna push this tire back through. Well, it's resting in the bucket, that's why. Okay, so now we're gonna come over and get our wheel back in. Over here, Reed. Put the wheel back on the axle and line it up nicely so it's nice and pushed in. And then we're gonna get our clip. Remember our retaining clip? And we're gonna put the retaining clip back on. Over here. Through the hole. Okay, and then the hubcap lines up. Give it a left tap. Okay, that's it. All done. Now do it again. Now repeat for the other side. Okay, motor's hooked back up. So now we're just gonna put it in. And then we're gonna get our axle slid back through. So I'm gonna push this tire back through. Well, it's resting in the bucket, that's why. Okay, so now we're gonna come over and get our wheel back in. Over here, Reed. Put the wheel back on the axle and line it up nicely so it's nice and pushed in. And then we're gonna get our clip. Remember our retaining clip? And we're gonna put the retaining clip back on. Over here. Through the hole. Okay, and then the hubcap lines up. Give it a left tap. Okay, that's it. All done. Now do it again. Now repeat for the other side. Done. End it. Okay, motor's hooked back up. So now we're just gonna put it in. And then we're gonna get our axle slid back through. So I'm gonna push this tire back through. Well, it's resting in the bucket, that's why. Okay, so now we're gonna come over and get our wheel back in. Over here, Reed. Put the wheel back on the axle and line it up nicely so it's nice and pushed in. And then we're gonna get our clip. Remember our retaining clip? And we're gonna put the retaining clip back on. Over here. Through the hole. Okay, and then the hubcap lines up. Give it a left tap. Okay,
That's it. All done. Now do it
Okay.
again. Now repeat for the other side. Done. End it.